Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome to the Love from Lizi channel. I'm Simone and I'm from Blonde Cards and Crafts, and I'm going to share with you 3 cards that I'm going to make using the Love from Lizi September 2024 super kit, and it's called the Indigoletta kit. Now I have the stamps and dies from that kit here, and I have all the other products spread out around my desk which I'm going to use. I'm going to make 3 cards, and some of the products that I'm going to use will be this stamp set, as well as I'm going to use the circle dies, and these products are available on the Love from Lizi website. I'm going to use the dies, the circle dies. It's 21 dies in the pack. I have half on the front, half on the back. I'm also going to use the Love from Lizi nested arches dies, and there's 6 dies in this one, again available on the website. I'm going to use the lovely geometric 6x6 embossing folder. This came in a kit. You can use whatever you have in your stash. I'm also going to use this stamp set. I love using this stamp set because of the big happy in it. I'll be making a happy birthday card, so I'll be using this. And this was from the September 2022 super kit. So, I mean, it's cool that I'm using it for this, the September super kit 2024. So they're the products I'm going to use, as well as the products that come in the kit. And we're going to start off with card 1. So this I'm calling a slide and reveal card, and it's an A2 size card. I was kind of playing with this idea, and the mechanism turned out so well that I went ahead and made a card out of it. So when you turn this little arrow here, we have a lovely little sentiment that pops down. So the sentiment, thinking of you, is from the kit, and then this one, your friendship is everything, is from the kit. So this is the first card we're going to make. I have everything I'm going to need here, including one of the circles from the circle die. Now this die, it measures, let's see, it's a 2.5 inch diameter die that I'm going to be using, and that's to give this cutout around here. And then you can see we'll slide that down and around there. So that's what the die is from. We're going to do a little bit of ink blending. I'm going to go through what else you're going to need to make this card. So I've taken one of the ribbons from the kit. I've also got 2 pieces of ephemera. So I have a small one and a larger one. This is going to sit over our mechanism, and then this is going to be the piece that hides our sentiment. The sentiment here, I've used the arched dies to die cut this out, and I did some partial die cutting. And I do this in another card as well. So in order to do this, you take the die and you take your piece of cardstock and you die cut your piece of cardstock out. And then what I did was I moved my die up, and you'll feel it will lock into place because of the stitching. You should feel it lock into place, and you can do it as long or as short as you like. My one here, it measures, let's see, 1.5. It measures just over 1.5, so that's 1 5/8 is how big this piece is. So I just popped that through my die cutting machine again, and it cut this piece out for me, and that's how I got that. And I just liked that shape, and that's why I did that one. We'll also need a piece of acetate, and my acetate piece measures 1/2 inch, and it's, have a look, it is 3 3/4 inches long, and you can cut this now to length when you're doing your card. I've taken a little piece of white cardstock, it's 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and I just drew a little arrow shape on it so people will know, you know, to slide it over and back. I then have a piece of white cardstock, and this piece measures 4 by 2 3/4. I'm going to ink blend on that. I also have a panel, and this measures 4 by 5 1/4. And then using some of the lovely lavender color or purple color cardstock, I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch A2 side folding card. I've taken some of my Peeloffs. These are the pink. They're such a beautiful pink. They're pink hearts, and there's 3 sizes. I just peeled the release paper off it. That way I find it easier to get at the little hearts, but you don't have to do it. This is how I do it with mine. So that's all the pieces we're going to need. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink blend on these 2 panels, and then I'm going to do some stamping. You can see here, thinking of you, I will do some stamping on that larger panel as well. So I'm going to move everything away. I'm going to bring in an inking mat that I have, and we're going to do some inking. So the color I'm going to ink blend is Stormy Sky around the edge. And I'm just going to do this very lightly, and I'm not going to do along the top here. I'm just going to do on the 3 sides and then around the top and sides of this panel as well. So I'm not putting too much pressure on the brush. I want to get it darker around the edge of the page and then go lighter as I move in towards the center. So, and the ink will dry off, it'll smooth out, but I like this kind of a cloudy look that I get. So we have our blending done now. We need to do some die cutting, and I want to take my little die and I want to die cut that into my panel. And I don't want to die cut it the whole way down. I want to die cut it a little bit over half the die. So let me just see if I measure it down so that you'll know how far I'm coming. Let's see. I'm coming down about 1.5, a little over 1.5 inches down. So I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine so that you can see the process that I go through. I'll just move everything out of the way. So what I like to do is pop my plate on. So whatever your cutting is, this is my cutting plate here, and then this is the plate that goes on top. So I like to slide it in like that first, and then I take the piece of cardstock and I want to put that down there like that, and then I want to bring my top plate over. Now if we cover this piece with our top plate, then everything will get cut out. But if I bring this back and have it so that it doesn't cut up here, about 1/2 inch, so I'll push that in. I'm holding this plate down and I'm pushing it in with this hand here. So I'm pushing that in, and then anything underneath that plate will cut. And then you can bring it back if you want, roll it back the second way. I don't. I will just leave it there, and I can see now this has cut out, and you can see where it hasn't cut. So I'm happy with that. I can move my die cutting machine away, and then I can very carefully lift this up. Now, so we have our 2 panels. They're going to sit like so. And I'm going to bring back in all these pieces here. I'll move over a little on the desk. So we have our little piece of acetate. That is going to sit under here like that. And if you imagine putting that in the middle there, you'll be able to see that if you had I think it's a focal point there, you'd see that it would go both ways. It goes the whole way around, and then around that way. So our piece will work. So now we just want to build it up. So what we need to do is we need to put some foam on the back of this piece. We don't want any foam around this area here, because this is where our acetate is going to be moving over and back. And I'm turning it up this way so you can see it. So when we pop this in, like so, our piece of acetate will move around like that. So we don't want any. So foam all around here, all around on the back there, and on that will be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to add some foam to the back of this. So now we've got lots of support on that panel there. So this will sit on here like so, and then that will sit on there on top like that. We'll have this piece which will hide behind our ephemera, and we'll need to place our ephemera down there in such a way that it's going to hide our little piece that's going to pop up. So it'll be something like that. And then I've got some more ephemera. You can either put it on this panel here, or you could put it over here in the corner. You just need to be aware that this is going to swivel around and you don't want anything in your way. So that's the only thing with that. But I did like the idea of popping that down there as well. And then we have our little bow to go on there. And this will all hide where our acetate is going to be. And that'll pop under there like that. And it will attach to our little sentiment. Okay, so the only thing that we need to do before we do assembly is this little sentiment here. If you want to add that down, now is the time to stamp that on this panel, so that when we slide this across, that it covers it. So if you want to do that, now is the time to do that. So I'm going to do that before I do the assembly of my card. We'll be ready to go then once I've that done. So we have our foam pads on for our stability when it's on our card base like so. And what I've done is, I see a lot of crafters, they kind of put the brad through this panel here and they raise this panel up. But what I've done is I've added a piece of foam tape, the same height as these ones, and I cut it in half and I put a piece of it across here where my acetate is going to go. And what I've done then is I've taken my punch, you can use whatever punch you have, and I've punched straight through that. I've also punched through my acetate piece. So if you look, it's my little arrow piece there is able to slide around and our holes will line up. So this will go underneath like so, and our two holes will line up there at the back. And the reason we have the foam pad here is to allow our piece here to duck down. So it'll be able to duck down just that much at the back. So you can put as big or a small piece there as you want. So now what I'm going to do is I'll pop that back through there, and I'll take my brad, and I'll just take one. I have a little pack of them there. I might take a green one. You won't see this because it's going to be covered up. So I'll pop my brad behind there, and then I'll open the legs. I'll use my little tool here and spread them out, and then they'll open out like so. So our acetate slides over and back. I hope you can see that there. And then this piece here will get stuck onto it. And like I said, we have this at a long length. It doesn't need to be that length. It just needs to be long enough so that part of our sentiment can be on there like so. So this piece needs to go down here, and we'll stick that down using our foam tapes. So I'm going to stick that down into place now. We will not be taking the release paper off this. That will stay on. It's only off these pieces around the outside. So I'm happy with this now, and I'm pleased with where I have it situated. I think I'll be able to see the sentiment there, no problem. Yeah, I think that looks lovely, and I much prefer it because it's got that bit of a curve to it. So I'm going to glue that down, and I know I don't want to come up any higher than that. I'm going to use my quick grab glue, and I'm going to put some glue on the bottom here and across here. And then we can always pop a bit of foam tape on it on one of the external pieces just here. I might just put a tiny bit of foam tape so that it'll have a bit of support right up there at the top. So I'm just going to add a little bit of foam tape up here at the top, just so it'll have a little bit of coverage. And then I know my glue is down here, so this is where this needs to be. And then because I'm using liquid glue, it'll give me a little bit of wiggle room time so that I can get my, and don't worry about what's going on here because we're going to cover that up. We've got our thinking of you, and I'm just going to move it over just a tiny bit more. And now I can take the release paper off my piece of foam up here, and that way then I can add that down. And I want to hide it a little bit better there, like that. And my little sentiment here will still pop out. We've got a bit of support there. Lovely. And that'll slide under there nicely. Now you could always add another little piece over it, or a little sprig if you wanted. You could pop that in behind and have that coming out if you want, but I'm really happy with that piece of ephemera. So now I want to add on here. So I'm going to use my hot glue for my ribbon, and if we wanted to add a little piece of ephemera under here, I have another piece of ephemera there. I'm going to take a piece of the ephemera and I'm going to cut it a little so it just sits under the brad there. Once that's glued in place, I'm going to take some hot glue. I'll put a little dollop of hot glue on the brad and then sit my bow on top. Be careful now that it doesn't stick to your acetate and your acetate is stuck in place. Be very careful when you do that. I put a little cluster down in the bottom right hand side, and I made sure that my arrow still is able to swing by, and I'm using those pink sparkle hearts, Peeloffs, to dot around the card. I just love this. So there we go. There is our slide and reveal card using the lovely September Super Kit, the Indigoletta kit. I hope you've enjoyed this card. Let's move on now to card number 2. So our second card, it's going to be a bridge fold card, and this is an A2 size bridge fold card. So I have here a piece of 7.5 by 4.25, and I've scored it at 1 inches and 2 inches, and then I rotated it around and scored it again at 1 inches and 2 inches, and that then is going to give us a bridge fold card. So I'll fold this piece over and that piece back, and then this piece over and that piece back, and that's our bridge fold card. Now you can see here I've done some stamping. We have this gorgeous stamp here in the stamp set, and what I did was I took that stamp and using my VersaFine Clair Purple Delight. Isn't that a fabulous name? Purple Delight. I then stamped that on the 2 inside panels here. On the back, I have stamped it again on those 2 panels. And then I've taken this stamp here, thank you for all you do. And what I did was I just stamped the thank you on here. Now, I did a little stamp surgery there on my stamps because I don't mind cutting my stamps apart, but the whole thing will fit together again if I want to use the whole stamp all in one. I've also taken a little flower, and it's this one here. And I just stamped that down using a stamping block. I just stamped that down like so to give that lovely little look. Then inside here I have a panel. And this piece of pattern paper will sit in here like so. Now don't worry if you miss the measurements when I give them to you, because they're all down in the description. You'll be able to find them down there. So this piece measures 3 3/8 and it's 4 1/8 long. And you can see here again, I've done some stamping. Again, I've used the stamp, "Your friendship is everything." I love it. I've nothing like that in my stash, and I do have some lovely crafty friends that I think I would like to send cards to. So I've stamped that down, "Your friendship is everything." Again, I took this little stamp, this little floral one here, and I stamped it either side. And then we have this little stamp here with all the little dots. I have that on a stamping block. No, this one, that's it. And I just went around my pattern paper like so and put some of the dots down. I just love the look that that gives. I've also got 2 panels. Now you can either put just 2 on the front, or you can put 2 on the front and 2 on the back. I'm just doing 2 on the front. This is a piece here. Now the measurements for these 2 pieces is 7/8 this length and 4 1/8 this length. So you can see this was all one piece, and I'm going to pop this one on here like that, and I'm going to pop this one on here like so. Now a bridge fold card means that you pop something across here to bridge the gap, and I thought I would use the lovely Arches dies from Love from Lizi. Now I've taken the largest one and I've die cut out this panel, and it'll give me this one here, and this will sit astride the panel like so. But if I use it at this height, then it's going to be too big for my envelope. So what I did was I took the die and I moved it up a bit, and I moved it up so that it would measure about 4 1/4 in height. And you'll feel it locking in where the stitching is along the sides here. You should feel the die lock into place, and then you can put this through your die cutting machine and you will come out with a piece like so. So you can see here, this is what I've taken off the end at the bottom. So now I wasn't done with that, because I want to see through to my panel with the lovely pattern paper and our stamping. So I've taken this die, and it's the 3rd one from the middle, and I'm going to pop that in here like so, and I'm going to die cut this out. And when I die cut this panel out, I'm then going to take it and I'm going to put it through my die cutting machine using this embossing folder. And this is one that we got from a previous kit, so you can use whatever you have in your stash. So I'm going to pop this through my die cut machine. I'm going to die cut out this panel and then emboss this piece. So now you can see here, this is the panel that I have die cut out, and then we're left with this lovely arch, and we have some lovely embossing on it. Now I'm going to pop that on there and on here like so, and you'll see our lovely panel then through the center. You could add some ink blending to this if you liked, but I'm not going to. I took some red liner tape and I've put that on the back because we're going to stick this down, and I know red liner tape is a really strong double-sided tape to use. The red liner one that I have here is actually from a kit that we got previously from Love from Lizi, so I'm going to pop that down on there. So that's our card number 2. I'm going to add some more of the little ephemera flowers and maybe a bow across the top. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to glue our panels down and add our arch onto it. And then I'll come back to you. I'm going to speed through this piece and I'm going to glue these down. So now I've taken off the release paper on my panel here, and what I want to do is I'm going to take this over and fold it down like so. When this goes into our envelope, it'll fold flat like this, and then when you open it up, it'll sit up like that. So we want to fold these, this one flat down and this one flat down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to gauge my arch. So I've the release paper is still on this and it's off this one. I want to make sure that it sits on the same amount. So I'll flatten that down like that. And that looks about right. So you can see now this is stuck down here. And I can take off the release paper here off our double-sided tape, and I'm going to use my pokey tool because sometimes it can be hard to get it off that. So now again we're going to fold, these two are going to be folded flat like that. This other one is flat down, and then I'm going to, as straight as I can, bring this over and there we go. Now you could put a piece of acetate behind this to give it a bit of strength if you wanted, and it should fold both ways nicely like that. And then when it stands up, it stands like that. I think that's lovely. What do you think? Doesn't that look good there? Now I'm going to embellish it, and I have a couple of little bits of ephemera. I thought I might add one on here like so, and then maybe add this one over here like that. And then I have a ribbon here as well, so we could put the ribbon there. Let's see. Now I'm not sure about the ribbon. How does that look? What do we think? So you can see here I do faff around with the layout, but for a finish I'm happy with just the ephemera piece. I think this would make a beautiful wedding card. I can imagine a silhouette of a bride and groom behind this arch. I think that would just look lovely. So now we've everything down in the place that we want it. So there we are. There is our bridge fold card using the lovely arches from Love from Lizi as well as the September kit. And this makes for a nice little thank you card. It could make for a friendship card. And I have put my thank you down here so that I can, you know, dear whomever, blah, 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 thank you. And then I can sign it here, Simone. So there we go. That is card number 2. Let's move on now to card number 3. So now we're on to our third card, and I thought what I would use for card number 3 is the card and envelope that came in the kit. This is a 6x6 card. It's a lovely opalescent card and it's got a beautiful shimmer in the light. You can see inside I've done some stamping already. I used again the VersaFine Clair. I thought this was a lovely colour with the colours in the kit, and I've used some of the stamps in the kit. I've used the Thinking of You, this lovely little floral here, and then on your special day, because this card is going to be a birthday card. Not only that, it's going to be a shaker card, and not only that, we're using the front panel, the front page that comes with our pattern paper. Normally there's the Love from Lizi logo in here and all the little spiel about the card and the pattern paper and what it is, and I just think it's a great panel to use as a card base. So I've cut this down so it's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. The floral bunch there can go anywhere you want, at the top, at the bottom, it can go anywhere you want it. So now, what have I got to go with this? Well, I have a piece of acetate, and this is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. And what I've done is I've put double-sided tape on one side, and I've got some foam tape on the other side. Now, where this piece is here, this is the kicker for where my flowers are there. So wherever my flowers are going to be on the card, that panel is going to be across the bottom, because I think there's no point in having sequins falling down in here and being lost. You won't see them. So I always like to kind of hide that by, you know, adding a bit of foam tape in there. So now I want to do some stamping on this panel, and I'm going to embellish the front of the card where we have these here. I thought I would pull out the flowers, maybe pop some around. I've got a lovely little piece here, and maybe this little one's over here on the left, and I thought we could just embellish it. So I've taken out some of the lovely ephemera, and we'll have a look. I think once I'm assembling, I'll get a feel for where I want them, etc. I've also taken some of the cardstock that came in the kit, and I've taken this die. This die came in the kit, and I've die cut out 4 of these panels. Now, it'll die cut out this part, but you cut along here to size. So I have them there, and what I want to do is I want to add these around here like so. I'm going to add a little bit of lacy detail. So I'll probably add one there and one here, and then another one along here and another one over here. And I can cut them off then to whatever length I like and pop that there like that. And I think that'll be lovely. So that's all our pieces and parts. I'm going to do some stamping onto my card panel first, and then I'm going to do some assembly. So I'm going to move everything out of the way, bring out my stamping platform, and we'll do that next. Here you can see I've put my front panel down onto the card base. It's not stuck in place. I'm just laying it there for placement. And then I can stamp my happy birthday down onto the card base. I'm using a green color as well, and those little dots just to embellish around the happy, and then I'm using the pink, or the purple as it's called. I think it's more pink as well. I'm going to add some sequins. This is a mix of sequins that I've got from Love from Lizi over the years. I'll make sure that that's all flat, and then I'll add my acetate panel down. My foam is only 1 layer deep. I thought that would be enough, especially if my sequins is flat. So now I'm going to add our lovely pattern paper panel to the front. You might notice that I forgot to add those lovely die cut borders. Got so carried away, I forgot. But I don't mind. I think the card turns out lovely, but you might decide to add them in. I'm adding 2 pieces of ephemera to the top left and the bottom left, and I'm going to leave it so that you can see the corners there peeking through. I liked the blue color border, and I just thought it would be a nice little thing to leave that so you can see that. By the way, if you can hear snoring during my video, that's my dog Buster. He's an old boy, he's 15 and a half, and he's here beside me. He's my company in the craft room, and yeah, he does tend to snore. So there we go. There is our third card using the beautiful Indigoletta Super September kit. That is card 3. We have our lovely card 2, our bridge fold card. I've added some glossy accents or accent glaze to this. I've put a couple of drops around the card. I've done some swirls of the glossy accents on the flowers. I hope you can see all the shine. It hasn't set yet, but once they're set, I think that will be lovely. So that's card number 2. And then we had our first card that we made, our lovely slide and reveal card with our hidden message in there. And isn't that lovely? So there are 3 cards using the lovely kit from Lizi this September in celebration of Lizi's birthday, which she celebrates in September. So that's why she brings us this super kit. Links are down in the description below to the products I've used, to the subscription, to the other design team members who have made cards using this lovely kit, and to the measurements of all 3 cards. You can find me on Blonde Cards and Crafts. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and ding the bell so you'll be notified next time Lizi shares a video on her channel. Thank you so much for watching me. I'm Simone from Blonde Cards and Crafts, and until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye for now. Bye bye.